Hello and welcome. You are with News 9, and at News 9 Live, we continue to track and debate all the developments at the ill-fated NEET 2024 controversy. And in the latest development today, the Supreme Court has issued a notice to the centre seeking its response on the demand for a CBI inquiry into the issue of corruption at NEET UG 2024. What happened at the Supreme Court today? Well, the Supreme Court asked the National Testing Agency, NTA, to respond within 2 weeks over a batch of petitions on allegations of paper leaks. The NTA's petition seeking transfer of cases from various lower courts and high courts to the top court will now be taken up in Supreme Court on the 8th of July. But there's something else that's going to happen before the 8th of July. 1,563 students will be eligible for a retest, and these 1,563 students are the ones who were given grace marks on account of a delayed start of their exam on the 5th of May. Now remember, the NTA had used a CLAT approved Supreme Court formula of grace marks instead of allowing additional time at centers where the test began late. Why did the NTA not use better judgment when the exam, in any case, was an offline one? And there's another narrative which is now emerging. Are coaching institutes fanning the NEET controversy for protecting their own business interests? We discussed that on the show as well. What is also happening is that NEET is now becoming a political hot potato. The Congress party has again raised questions to the government over the NEET controversy. Congress leader Pawan Khera in a press conference called upon Prime Minister Modi to break his silence and also demanded names of students who were given grace marks. Let's listen in to what Pawan Khera said earlier.
अक्सर हम लोग मानते भी हैं, जानते भी हैं कि डॉक्टर भगवान का दूसरा रूप होते हैं और एक स्वस्थ देश, एक स्वस्थ समाज, एक स्वस्थ परिवार, एक स्वस्थ व्यक्ति डॉक्टर ही बनाते हैं। लेकिन अगर उस डॉक्टर को बनाने की प्रक्रिया अस्वस्थ हो जाए तो वो डॉक्टर कैसे एक स्वस्थ नागरिक को बनाएगा? मैं आंकड़े पीछे चलते रहेंगे, मैं साथ साथ बोलता रहूंगा ताकि आपको समझ में आए कि क्या हैं ये आंकड़े। नाम है नीट। कहीं से भी रिजल्ट देखने के बाद क्या आपको लगता है कि ये प्रक्रिया नीट है? ये प्रक्रिया साफ है, स्वस्थ है, स्वच्छ है? बिल्कुल नहीं लगता। अगर ये आप आंकड़े देखेंगे, 24 लाख बच्चों का भविष्य धूमिल हो रहा है, उस पर पानी फेर दिया गया है इस परीक्षा के माध्यम से। पहले क्या हुआ? तारीख बढ़ाते रहे, बार बार तारीख बढ़ा रहे थे और फिर पूरे सिस्टम की पोल 4 जून को खुल गई। 4 जून पर भी फिर आएंगे, पहले चर्चा इस पर कर लें। पूरे के पूरे 720 आउट ऑफ 720 आउट ऑफ 720, आप पीछे आपके सामने स्क्रीन पे जो आंकड़ा दिख रहा है वो देखिए। इसको 67 टॉपर्स थे जिसको 720 में से 720 अंक मिले इस साल। पिछले साल कितने थे? उसके पिछले साल कितने थे? ये तमाम आंकड़े ये विनीत जी ने हमारे रिसर्च करके मुझे दिया। ये बड़ी अच्छी रिसर्च इन्होंने की। ये आपको सारे आंकड़े इसमें दिखेंगे। पिछले 8 सालों में, चलिए पिछले साल का तो छोड़िए, पिछले 8 सालों में सिर्फ 7 ऐसे छात्र थे जो पूरे में से पूरे अंक लाए हों। 8 साल में 7 छात्र और 1 साल में 67 छात्र। ये अपने आप में चौंका देने वाला आंकड़ा है। शिक्षा मंत्री जी कोई जवाब नहीं। ये एक्स्ट्रा 2AB कहां से आया? प्रधानमंत्री की भाषा में अगर पूछें तो ये 2AB आया कहां से एक्स्ट्रा? उनको बड़ा शौक है इस तरह के इक्वेशन देने का। जयराम जी होते तो बड़ा मुस्कुराते इस बात को सुनकर, उनको भी बड़ा प्रिय लगता है ये उदाहरण। अब ये परीक्षा पे चर्चा से प्रेरणा मिली बच्चों को, ये तो हम मान नहीं सकते। परीक्षा पे चर्चा से हम में से किसी को कभी मिली है प्रेरणा प्रधानमंत्री से? लेकिन फिर घोटाला हुआ। ये कैसे साबित हुआ? बिहार में पुलिस ने पकड़ा, कई ऐसे लोगों को पकड़ा, आज वो हिरासत में हैं जिन्होंने टेलीग्राम चैनल्स पे नीट के पेपर लीक किए थे। इसकी जांच में आगे क्या हुआ ये हमें नहीं मालूम। 13 आरोपी वहां गिरफ्तार हुए। वैसे ही गोधरा, गुजरात, बिहार भी का एक उदाहरण दे रहा हूं मैं आपको, अब गुजरात का भी उदाहरण दे रहा हूं। गोधरा में भी कोचिंग सेंटर्स के साथ मिलकर, एक पर्टिकुलर कोचिंग सेंटर था, उसके साथ मिलकर कैसे ये लीक हुआ। तो ये बिहार और गुजरात, ये एनडीए का गठबंधन क्या नीट डिजास्टर अलायंस हो गया है?
NEET Disaster Alliance is the new acronym coming out of NDA from Pawan Khera. He's saying that Education Minister has not broken his silence. He's mistaken. In fact, Education Minister did break his silence not once but twice. Let's listen in to what Dharmendra Pradhan said yesterday, and he came on record and said there is no corruption at NEET. Let's hear him out.
नीट को लेके एक फैसला आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट की स्तर से आई है। नीट में इस बार 24 लाख बच्चे परीक्षा दिए थे। कट ऑफ डेट में लगभग 13 लाख विद्यार्थी एग्जामिनेशन को क्वालिफाई किए। 4,500 तरीके सेंटर नीट एग्जामिनेशन के लिए देश भर में होती है। 4,500 सेंटर देश भर में होती है। अनेक देशों में भी नीट की सेंटर होती है। खाड़ी की देशों में होती है, पड़ोस की देशों में होती है, और 13 भाषा में एग्जामिनेशन होता है। दुर्भाग्य से इस बार नीट की 2 क्वेश्चन सेट्स होता है। गलती ना हो जाए इसीलिए चुनाव एग्जामिनेशन के दिन ही सूचित किया जाता है क्वेश्चन सेट ए या बी को यूज किया जाएगा, आइदर ऑफ द वन। इस बार जब परीक्षा हुआ, गलती से आउट ऑफ 4,500 सेंटर 6 सेंटर में गलती से गलत सेट्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन आ गई। जब परीक्षा चल पड़ी, कुछ समय के बाद उसको संज्ञान में लिया गया और उसको विड्रॉ करके फिर सही प्रश्न पत्र दिया गया। उसमें कुछ टाइम लॉस हुई। उन 6 सेंटर में लगभग 1563 स्टूडेंट उसमें परीक्षा दे रहे थे। उनके मन में आया कि भाई ये हमारी साथ थोड़ा अन्याय हुई है, हमारी टाइम लॉस हुई है, हमारे लिए कुछ सोचनी चाहिए।
Right, so Dharmendra Pradhan there saying that there is absolutely no case of corruption at NTA, but students today also went to meet the Education Minister, and Dharmendra Pradhan did tell them that all the process of the law will be followed. He did not specifically say or not say in his interaction with students today and the media bite he gave after that on whether or not there is corruption. But before we play that bite, I want to bring in my guests, and to my guests today, there are 4 questions that I want to ask and debate upon. Number 1, is there corruption at NEET? That's the first question we want to ask today on the show. Is there corruption at NEET? Number 2, is the NTA's response on 67 toppers satisfactory? Number 3, another narrative which is emerging. Are coaching institutes fanning the narrative of paper leak and of other issues against NTA? And last but not the least, has politics overtaken the merits of the case? Let's get our guests in. Dr. Kapil Sankhal, Advocate Supreme Court, Advocate Anubha Shrivastava Sahai, Educationalist and President, India-wide Parent Association, Saurabh Pant, Academic Director, Shri Gosalites, Vijayawada, and Chirag, Bhuva, a petitioner and father of Rehhan, Bhuva, a NEET 2024 aspirant. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me today. Ms. Anubha, let me start with you, ma'am. My first question, from whatever you have heard and seen so far, the cases of paper leak emerging from Bihar and students travelling all the way to Godhra from different parts of the country to write an examination paper, allegations coming that parents have paid lakhs and lakhs of rupees for that education or examination center for their students to write the exam at. Prima facie, what does it tell you, ma'am? Is there corruption at NEET or at NTA?
Yes, definitely there is a big corruption which is involved. They themselves, they have even arrested a solver gang. Who are those solver gang? They are helping these students only to clear the NEET exam. Once the solver gang, if they have a solver gang which is involved, if there is a paper leak in Bihar, which neither NTA nor Education Minister is admitting, they are not admitting. They are saying there is no paper leak, but there are so many evidence now which is circulating in social media. So somehow or other, someone from NTA is involved, which maybe they are trying to cover up. Education Minister is also trying to help NTA instead of holding an inquiry, instead of directing CBI and other authorities, they can definitely do it. They should not wait for Honorable Supreme Court to issue direction for holding any inquiry. They have all the
Okay.
power. So
Okay.
why they're not doing it? So corruption is definitely there, which the minister and also the NTA is trying to cover up.
Okay, Minister and NTA trying to cover up corruption. Dr. Kapil Sankhal, Advocate, Supreme Court. Sir, from the evidence and the chatter on social media, number one, is the chatter on social media evidence enough at this stage to point at potential cases of corruption at NEET UG 2024 and at NTA? Is question number one. And question number two, sir, should a CBI inquiry be ordered by the government without waiting for the Supreme Court to step in on the 8th of July and decide on the matter?
Well, first, lovely question. Very well put. You see, a chatter on the net or anywhere at all is a dangerous thing indeed, because it actually is just a cacophony raised by certain people, and that can be controlled. So the first part, if the courts go by the chatter, it would be a very dangerous precedent. The courts have on a number of occasions said that we are not even bothered, not even consider what's on Wikipedia, what's on the internet, and even what is in the news. And they will apply their independent mind. So that is the first part of it. So the chatter should not affect the flow of justice at all. Now, as far as the second thing is concerned, there's an old saying that Caesar's wife must be above suspicion, which suggests that those in any position of power or associated with any kind of influential figure should maintain impeccable integrity. And so justice should not only be done, should be seen to be done, is another old saying in law. If there is a question as to impartiality, as to whether certain decisions have been influenced, whether the integrity of NTA is in doubt, then definitely the government should ask the CBI to investigate and inquire. But the second part of it is, if
sir,
it is
sorry
done
to cut you short, but the government,
right.
I'm sorry to cut you short, sir, but the government has come on record. Yesterday, the Education Minister has come on record and said there is absolutely no case of corruption. So is the government at this stage believing that NEET is absolutely NEET?
That's exactly what I was saying. So the second part is this, that if the government starts deciding to involve CBI or special investigative units only because of internet chatter or because of certain aspects which are doubtful and questionable, but there is absolutely no figment of any evidence to the effect, it would again lay down a dangerous precedent, because it could also be something that could be influenced by certain influential groups. Right. And there are certain very influential groups which are involved here. So to say, the education mafia which is there, which is commonly called the coaching center, the quota center, etc., etc. And those people are also involved here. Those people are involved on both sides.
Yeah.
And one side is saying that, investigation should take place, something wrong has taken place. And then there are coaching centers which are involved in certain areas where they say that those people managed certain leak and there were certain other people which is called whatever, the solver gang or whatever it is. So if there is something which is brought to the notice of the court or to the center that certain things have been done which could not have been done and which are beyond human error, then as I said, that beyond reproach, investigation should be done. But under those circumstances where certain people are saying that probably something, I heard there was somebody from one of these quota centers saying that, because the results were given during the time when election results were being given, it seemed that certain things were hidden. That it seems probability, etc., is just, arguments of a weak man indeed. So therefore, under the circumstances, let us see if something cogent comes on record.
Right.
Before that, I think it would be very unfair to involve CBI and, keep the fate of many other students who have given the exam in limbo as well.
Sure. So we are getting 2 points of view here. There is, we have Dr. Anubha saying that, Advocate Anubha, I beg your pardon, saying that there must be a CBI inquiry. And here we have Dr. Sankhal, who is saying that perhaps we should wait for the court. What is it that the people who are joining us live right now saying on this matter? Let's pull up that poll. More than 100 students, we are assuming students, but more than 100 people have already voted, and you have the results there on your screen. We were asking a question on our YouTube channel: is there corruption in NEET? A resounding 86%, perhaps looking at the social media chatter, are saying yes, there is corruption. Only 8% saying no, and very few, just 6%, want to in fact wait for the Supreme Court to weigh in. Dr. Sankhal, you mentioned an education coaching mafia. I'm not sure if you meant that, but let's get in Dr. Saurabh Pant. He's the academic director at Sri Gosalites, Vijayawada. Dr. Pant, I want to take another question to you. Whether to believe in social media chatter or not is a different matter altogether. But the explanation which NTA has given on how so many numbers, in fact 67 high-ranking All India Rank 1 students, 720 out of 720 have emerged this time. The explanation which has come from NTA is fourfold. Number one, they are saying that the syllabus has been reduced. Number two, they are saying that the number of aspirants has gone up. So, even though not in the same ratio, but the absolute number of toppers has increased. Number three, they are saying that this time the age limit was done away with, which means people who have perhaps appeared at NEET earlier have now given their third, fourth, fifth, 10th attempt at solving the paper and cracking that 720 out of 720 score. And the fourth point is that the question paper was easy. Do all of these 4 points make sense to you, Saurabh Pant?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me in the panel. So point by point, let's come to the things that NTA have said. Firstly, is the syllabus reduced? Answer is yes and no. Yes and no how? The syllabus got reduced. Some of the chapters which were there in the NCERT got deleted last year, and they were removed from the NEET syllabus. But in that place, some new syllabus was also added, which was equivalent to the deleted syllabus. In fact, the new syllabus added, if the questions are coming from there, the marks should be actually getting reduced, because if someone is, let's say, just now NTA fourth point and first point are contradicting, because if the new syllabus is added, that means the 3, 4, 5-year-old aspirant have not read that topic at that point of time when they were preparing in class 12th or first drop or second drop. For them also, this was a new syllabus. So yes, the syllabus got reduced, but in that place, a sufficiently decent volume of the syllabus was also added. So the first point is bogus. Yes, number of aspirants have increased, but that is very nominal increase in the number of aspirants as well. That does not mean that the
20 lakh, the number
increase.
has gone to about 24 lakh. You're talking about just a 20% increase in the number of aspirants. In an ideal world,
Exactly.
statistically speaking, the number of toppers should have also increased by 20% and not 20 times.
In fact, the topper should have increased lesser. The point is, the crowd is increasing, does not mean the toppers are increasing. Let's come to the ground reality. If there are 1 lakh people writing the examination or 10 lakh people writing the examination, the top 100 will be hardly affected. It is most probably the herd mentality which has brought more number of students in this field. Because the parental pressure is also there. The student is also trying to go for a luxurious job where more money is there, seeing the glamorous side of being a doctor. On the other hand, on ground reality, the actually good minds are hardly 2 to 3 lakhs who are actually preparing for NEET examination every year. So be it 11 lakh aspirants or 23 lakh aspirants, the serious aspirants are 2 to 3 lakhs only, or maximum 10, 20,000 more.
Right.
So 67, 720 marks are not justified in that logic. But here I will give one credit to the NTA in explanation part is that one thing they have given the clarity. Out of all the press release they have released, none of them is making much sense except one. They mentioned out of 67, 720 out of 720, 44 students got 720 marks after
Grace
the
marks.
key change.
Yes.
Not grace marks exactly,
Sure.
but
The physics
after
question
the
which
key
had 2
change.
correct answers.
Right. So that 44, if we remove this 6 grace marks students, if we remove, then we have 17 students getting 720. Now the question arises, is that 720 practically possible? Yes.
Okay.
Highly unlikely? Yes.
Okay.
But the question should not be that 720. Because if a cheater is smart, they will not cheat whole 720 out of 720 to come in the limelight.
Sure.
Our main problem over here is the stats, the mathematics which is not adding up. What the mathematics says is that, for example, if a student is getting somewhere around 650 marks, his all India rank should have been around 2000, which is coming close to 4 to 5 times of that rank. Now, if the paper is easy, then at every marks level, the number of aspirant getting those marks must be increasing. Let's say 3 to 4 times.
Okay, so
But at
paper
the
being,
500 marks level,
I get your point, Saurabh Pant. I get your point.
No,
I
no,
want
this-
to bring
this-
in.
this-
Yeah, okay. Finish up your point.
yeah, one small point is there, which has to be noticed by all the panelists as well. When we are talking about the aspirant at 650 level or above, which is going to give government seats, number of selected candidates have become quadruple. But when it comes to 500 marks, the number of candidates have decreased.
Right.
That means the stats is not adding up, the maths is not adding up. That's the whole problem. Because if the average marks are increasing, lowest marks are increasing to 164, around 30-40 marks are increasing in lowest segment, highest segment. So why not this 500 marks is also increasing? Because this
Absolutely.
500 marks are useless.
There is no equal
Probably
distribution
because of that, there is no increase over there.
Yeah, there is no equal distribution of weightage when it comes to marks across all points, all bands. Point taken, Saurabh Pant. But I want to bring in a parent here. Chirag Bhuva, petitioner and father of Rehhan Bhuva, in fact, a student who did appear for NEET 2024. Sir, what is your child telling you? Did the NTA actually make a simpler exam paper this time?
No, I don't completely agree with that assertion here. I feel the paper was very similar to what the earlier paper was. And in fact, I want to call out what my co-panelist was also talking about in terms of the inflation in the ranks. In 2023, for people scoring more than 650 marks, we had 6,803 aspirants. In 2024, that number has gone to 21,724. For folks who scored 600 and above, in 2023, there was 28,619. In 2024, that number has gone to 80,468. How is it possible that all this increment is only on the 600 plus category and what we are not seeing with the 500 kind of a number, which was just called out? I definitely need to question if NTA is saying that the number of applicants increased. Why did you open the window again when the registration window had closed? How many of those people who applied in that new window are scoring above 600 and plus? Some of these data points need to be transparently announced by NTA, or else we'll keep losing the trust. I think what one of the other co-panelists also called out was we shouldn't be asking for CBI investigation based on the videos that are going around on social media. But the fact is that there is a lot of data that people are questioning, and all we have asked in our petition is we need to do a forensic audit of all the OMR sheets, because parents need a little bit of confidence. The ranks are way too high.
We get your point, Mr. Bhuva, we get your point. A forensic audit of all OMR sheets. Well, we are running out of time. I want to quickly just move on to something else that I want to bring and really get attention of all my panelists into. And Dr. Anubha, let me just start with you one more time. There is also this narrative building at this moment that perhaps because of the points given by NTA about the reduced syllabus, about the paper being easier, there is this narrative building that perhaps coaching institutes are fanning this discussion out of nothing. In one line, ma'am, what do you say? Do you think there is any truth to this argument that it is the coaching institutes which are actually fanning this whole debate and it's making a mountain out of a molehill?
I don't agree actually. See, coaching institutes, they will keep doing their job every year. But parents are complaining, students are coming forward, they are on streets. Students, why will they come on street? Why will they protest? These are aspiring doctors. They're going to become doctors, and these students are on street. Teachers are there. I'm in touch with so many parents and students also. So this is something that it's not only that coaching institutes are opposing or spreading rumor. It's a fact, and everything is on record from website of NTA. Students have sent me all the data. So the data is authentic and genuine, and now that's why NTA is on back foot. If the students and maybe even coaching institute or any educationist would have not opposed that
Sure.
718 and 719 marks,
Right.
then definitely this issue would not have been raised.
Right, Dr.
पता ही
Sankhal,
नहीं
let me
चलता
bring
लोगों
you
को
in.
कैसा
Dr.
कुछ हुआ
Sankhal,
है scam.
Dr. Sankhal,
पता ही नहीं
let
चलता.
me get you in, at this moment, because, okay, so we are getting this point that perhaps it is not motivated by coaching institutes. We'll address that as well. Do you think there is political motivation here? Because what our reporters who've gone to these protest sites and who've been, outside Supreme Court, what they are noticing is that there are political parties which are actually sponsoring the transportation and sponsoring snacks and refreshments for students who are protesting. Can we, at this stage, rule out political motivation?
You see, there's an old saying कि किसी और की आग में नेता ही रोटी सेकते हैं. That is exactly what is happening here.
Okay.
It's the life of students at stake, and everybody else is playing politics out of it.
Okay.
In 2015, NEET scam took place where the Honorable Supreme Court decided to cancel the exam, and there, as your word, the coaching mafia was involved. The courts have also stated that certain guidelines and regulations need to take place because
Right.
they are manipulating a number of things, including which center will get what kind of benefits and untowards
Right,
benefits, etc.
right. Yeah, obviously,
I
so there
believe
are
that
political undertones here. I get your point, Dr. Sankhal. I want to quickly bring in Saurabh Pant before I close this discussion. Saurabh Pant, on the narrative of coaching institutes profiteering from a situation and the misery of students, in one line, how do you dismiss that argument? I'm assuming that you're going to dismiss it.
I'm going to dismiss it on a larger level, but not on a smaller level. There are two kinds of coaching institutes. Let me make it very clear. When we speak about the larger brands, they don't need any such publicity. They already have enough number of students with them. When it comes to the smaller pockets where the students are not enough, the quality of education is not good enough. So why should the student take the admission there?
Okay.
So maybe the coaching which are involved over there in the paper leaks and all those kind of scenarios probably are these who want to earn money faster.
Right.
On the other hand, an institute as big as, if I say the names also, if you allow me.
No, that's
Like,
fine. I think we get the broad point. Let's not take names here, but you're saying there is absolutely no merit in the argument
So
of
why they
coaching
will harm their own
this
image?
discussion.
Why they will harm their own image unnecessarily for it?
Sure.
They don't have to. They are already earning enough. They don't have to do this drama to get the admissions.
All right, they don't have to go through this drama. With that, we'll come to an end of this discussion. Before we end, statistics back on your screen at this moment. More than 240 votes have come in on the question we were asking, that is there corruption at NEET? And a strong verdict coming, 90% of those participating agreeing that there is corruption. Only 5% saying there is no corruption, and another 5% wanting to wait till the 8th of July. I'd like to thank all my panelists for joining me on this debate on whether or not there is corruption at NEET.